Hello, you're listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized, the podcast that focuses on helping you create space to attract more money, love, and happiness in your life. I am your host, Janet M. Taylor, and I want to say hello if you're a regular listener, and welcome if you're listening for the very first time. I hope you are having a great week. And, of course, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, please leave a review so I continue bringing you episodes each and every week. Well, one person, Kathleen, left a comment on YouTube. Thank you. Thanks for putting this on YouTube. I listened on Blog Talk Radio. However, I do prefer YouTube even for podcasts. So thank you so much, Kathleen, for sharing that. I truly appreciate it. And of course, this episode, I'll be just sharing some wisdom from my mom and the women in my life because we are a few days away from Mother's Day. I will also be sharing my product, app, repurpose, and book suggestion for this week. And I would love for you to share a tip or life hack that your mom or mentor, mother figure has taught you, grandma, that you still do today. And of course, on June 15th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m., I'm going to be talking about how to master your time to get things done. I am so excited because I love talking about organizing and time management. So, just in case you didn't know, the origin of Mother's Day, as we know, it took place in the early 1900s. A woman named Anna Jarvis started a campaign for an official holiday honoring mothers in 1905, the year that her mother died. The first large-scale celebration of the holiday was in 1908 when Jarvis had a public memorial for her mother in her hometown. Isn't it wonderful how just things get started? And if you are just new to the podcast, new to knowing who Janet M. Taylor is, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. In 1994, I took my natural ability and started Totally Organized. And I have been a government contractor, and my celebrity clients include Les Brown and Dyana Williams. For 3 consecutive years, my company, Totally Organized, was recognized as one of the top minority firms by the Philadelphia Business Journal. And most recently, I have been a corporate trainer for a firm in New York, and I've been doing webinars for Fortune 500 firms. And last year, I did over 100 webinars, and some of those attendees were at least over 500 people in those webinars. And in 2018, I almost said 19. In 2018, I appeared on the Rachael Ray Show, where I was crowned the Clutter Free Queen. I also appeared on HGTV'S Mission Organization. Some of you may remember me from that. And I have been a featured speaker for IKEA as well as the Philadelphia Home Show in the past. And of course, most of you know me as the host and producer of this weekly podcast, Got Clutter, Get Organized. And thanks to all of you listening, and I'm going to say that again, and thanks to all of you listening in 2021, the podcast was ranked number 1 in the top 100 indie and home garden chart, and ranked number 1 in the top 100 home and garden chart. And of course, I also serve on the advisory board of my alma mater, Pierce College, and I serve on the business division board. So I just wanted to share that little bit of information about you. So now let's get to some tips and some strategies. So these are some tips, I call it from Mom Taylor's, and these are some life hacks, and some of you may have heard them, but I wanted to share them again because these are things that I still do. And these are general life hacks and not necessarily all organizing related. So one of the things that I saw my mother do it. I really didn't understand it as a child, but I do it now as an adult, and actually it has truly helped me specifically during these times, because we all know that because of supply and shipping, sometimes things are not available, but because I had this routine already, had become a habit, that I always really had things that I need. So one of the things is, if I open or use an item, it goes on the grocery list to purchase the next week. And by me doing that, I always had the things that I really wanted. And of course, one of the things my mother taught me to do is make aluminum foil your best friend, because it's so much easier with the cleanup. And I know a lot of you probably are like, yeah, Janet, that's what I do. That's why I want you to share those tips on my social media. Put the oldest in front and the latest in back. So when you buy something, let's say you go buy some pasta sauce, you put the one you recently have is in the cabinet in the front, and then the one you just bought in the back, something like that. Label and date items you store in the freezer. My mother would, buy large packages of meat. She would break them up into smaller portions, and then she would label and date like when she bought them, so she would kind of know. So when she started buying again, she would know, okay, I need to use the one with an earlier date before. And the last thing, which is so interesting because you may be able to hear, but I'm a little nasally because the allergies have just hit me strong this year. And so when I was first discovering about my allergies, and the doctors were just trying to figure out what some of the things I did in order to make all this. I says, well, one of the things I do every night before I leave the kitchen after I've eaten is I sweep the floor. And the intern was shocked. She said, you do what? I said, yeah, sweep the floor because there might be crumbs. So that's something I do. And, doing that really kind of reduces the amount of time I really have to spend in the kitchen doing cleanup, because I take a few minutes every day and do that. Then once a week, it's just like a quick, cleaning of the floor. So those are just a few things that I watched my mom do that I still do today. Then there's other tips from tips and other moms. I use the good dishes every day because someone shared that with me. They use the good dishes have become the everyday dishes, and they got rid of the everyday dishes just to reduce, because they were moving to a smaller space. Don't save your outfits for special occasions. This is a woman who is in her 80s told me this. Janet, do not save those. Wear that stuff every day. She was specifically, it was winter time, and she had a fur coat. And she said, Janet, don't just wear it with your jeans, wear it with whatever. She said, if you have one. At the time, I didn't have one. If you are nervous, that is okay. Do it afraid. This is something a woman who was a friend, mentor, life coach told me. If you are nervous, that's okay. That's normal. Do it afraid. No is a complete sentence. My pastor told me that. No is a complete sentence. She told me at a time when I was really, had just recovered from surgery, but I was also trying to be there for someone else who was, just going through something. She's like, Dan, you got to say no. And this is one of my favorite ones from a woman who is in her 90s. Life begins at. Every time you have a birthday, life begins at. Maybe life begins your next birthday is 40. Life begins at your next birthday is 52. Life begins at 59 because that'll be my next birthday. So always remember that. That was just a wonderful thing that I learned from her. But also, I want to transition. So I've shared some tips from moms, some tips from mentors and other moms. But now I want to kind of transition to Taylor's Tip Time, and I just want to share with you a few ways on how I take care of me, because that's important. Because as I said, we're transitioning, we're going slowly into celebration of Mother's Day, which I'm excited about. But how do you take care of you? Now, one of the things I do is I schedule it. So Sunday is my do nothing day. And when I say do nothing day, that means I get up, I take a bath. I love baths. But then what I do is I put on my favorite pajamas, go in the kitchen, fix my favorite breakfast. And then I may watch a movie. I may read a book. I may have a conversation with some friends. But that's the day where I really work hard not to work on work because it's easy. And I know it is because I have a home office and you always want to like kind of get caught up or do things. So that's something I do. But I also, my time for me is also when I get my hair done, when I get my facials, how I take care of me. I make sure I have time or conversations with friends. A lot of my friends live in other cities, so I have conversations with him via Zoom. Sometimes we just text each other throughout the day, and that's okay. My morning routine, number 3 is my morning routine is all about me. I wake up, I will listen to something, read something that feeds my soul and my spirit, because as a trainer, as an organizer, as a life organizer, I'm giving to people. So therefore, I need to give to myself before I walk out the door. Of course, I always listen. Number 4, listen to music or something uplifting throughout my day. Usually when I'm in the kitchen, fixing my breakfast, or even sometimes most of the times when I'm making my bed, fixing my breakfast, I'm listening to something motivational, something inspirational, some music that uplifts me. And sometimes at the end of a day, or even at the end of something that I've done that may be stressful, I will stop, pick a nice little song, do a dance, do something, and it'll only maybe be 5 minutes. But I have the freedom to do that when I'm working from home. And also, the last thing I do that is my time, but also helps me just replenish and refuel myself, is I work with my plants. Or sometimes I'll just walk in my neighborhood, because now that it's spring, beautiful flowers are coming up, the trees are blooming. Or sometimes I watch something funny. I love Designing Women. I love Golden Girls. I like a lot of the older shows. Sometimes I even, watch, Bewitched. It's just a lot of those different shows from the past. And I think a lot of that comes from the things that I enjoyed when I was watching a child. When I was a child, not watching a child. Sometimes I was watching somebody's child in the block that I lived in, but when I was a child. I would love to hear some of your feedback as well. So, have you been working on getting organized and feel overwhelmed? Are you challenged by managing your time between work and home and your life? Do you want to organize your life? Let's talk so I can help you. I work with clients to guide them from start to finish by providing them with details needed to clear the clutter and get organized without feeling overwhelmed and stressed. All you got to do is go to my contact page, click the link for a free 15-minute session, take the steps necessary to create the life you want, and start by doing something today. Click the link in the show page. As I share with you, Mastering Your Time to Get Things Done is the webinar coming up on Wednesday, June 15th, 2022 at 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be sharing how to overcome time wasters, understanding how not to overcommit, how to conquer procrastination, so much more. And I have limited the space to allow you to interact with me during these sessions, because you may have a specific challenge, and I can provide you with a technique, with a solution just for you. And I love those conversations. So click the link in the show page and tell a friend. And of course, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, following me on social media, for your likes, your retweets, for your sharing, for your comments. Please continue to follow me on all of my social media platforms. And of course, on Pinterest, check out my home, my office, my life, my paper, the kids, you name it. Check out my Pinterest page. And of course, don't forget, I'm on YouTube as well. So if you are just thinking of getting organized and don't want to get overwhelmed, you want to get organized, you want to organize your life, don't get overwhelmed. Join the Facebook group Living Life Totally Organized. It's a community of women, and I love that community because they will post stuff. Janet, I did my refrigerator. Janet, I'm at Goodwill. Janet, I have loaded up the car It is a community to encourage you when you are on that journey. And I do create weekly challenges where I just focus on a specific area to help someone, create some strategies in that area. But I am there to answer questions, to give you direction, to cheer you on, to encourage and inspire you. And that's what that group is about. And I love it because the women in the community, they, cheer each other on. So check it out. And of course, it's free to join. Well, you know what time it is? Are you doing your little dance, your little jig? It is Toss It Tuesday time. And this Toss It Tuesday, I want you to select an item, just one item that you no longer own, that you no longer use, and toss it. One item. You can either toss it or donate it that you no longer use. It could be a pair of shoes. It could be, sometimes when we receive flowers in vases and vases, before we know it, we've got a collection. And maybe you don't need all of them. So think about that. Think about one thing. Just that one thing, like, this one, and that's it. Because think about it. If you got rid of one thing a week, that's 52. If you got rid of one thing a month, that's 12. So think about that. Think about what you can be, because what you're doing is you're creating a flow. You're allowing things to leave your home as you receive things in your home, and you're just allowing the space to be kind of in balance. Well, my app suggestion for this week it's called, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Dyana. It's Diaro. And of course, no longer is your diary confined to one notebook or even an app. This Dyana, Diaro, syncs across platforms so you can access your journal from your phone, your tablet, or your computer whenever or wherever inspiration strikes. The next best thing about this app is its ability to attach images and entries. The app also features a powerful search engine which allows you to find notes by keywords, dates, tags, and locations. So again, that's Diaro. Think about that. And my Amazon shop, check it out, because I've got products in there for the bathroom, for the closet, for the kitchen, for the home office, for your life, and just things that will help you organize. And the one thing about the Amazon shop is when you go through the shop, it'll immediately take you to your account. So that's the wonderful thing about it, because check it out, see what all of those things are, because you're already, thinking about getting organized. So it's just one place to go. My repurpose suggestion for this week is I want you to find something in your house that maybe you are no longer using, but you don't want to let go of. And it could be something that belonged to your mom, and repurpose it. Repurpose those cups and use them in a drawer. Some people use those beautiful cups that they don't drink out of, and they use them as drawer organizers for their jewelry. Maybe there is, of course, like me, a trunk. Use that. I recently went to a client's home, and she had some of the trunks that her parents used to travel with throughout her home. So, let me know. Let me see your creativity. You can always, tag me on Instagram. You can tag me on Twitter. You can tag me on Facebook. But I would love to see how you're doing and how you're incorporating those items. And my book selection for this week is The High Five Habit. If you do not follow Mel Robbins, you need to. Take control of your life with one simple habit. It's the High Five Habit. I think she's fabulous. I always watch and listen to her. She just inspires me. And again, that's the High Five Habit. My quote for this week is, a mother is your first friend, your best friend, your forever friend. Again, a mother is your first friend, your best friend, and your forever friend. Well, I do want to thank you just for joining me for our, kickoff for the month podcast. And of course, be sure to share this podcast with your family, your friends, and on your social media. Again, let me know you enjoy listening to this podcast by leaving a review on whatever platform you are listening to us on. And of course, please be sure to visit the website at www.janetmtaylor.com. Until next time, I want you to have a clutter-free day. But most of all, have an organized week. Organization is a quintessential element of a clutter-free life. Join me as we take this journey together. Along the way, we will find the necessary answers to your organizing dilemmas. My name is Janet M. Taylor, and you are listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized.